It's okay, man. I got love for you. You know that.
Welcome to our Thoughts Your Thoughts, a show where we talk about the things you want to talk about.
And the things you don't want to talk about.
Yes. So, I want to announce to everybody that we found Nemo.
You gotta forgive this guy. He's got 3 kids, so technically he's allowed to make dad jokes.
Dad jokes.
So he gets 1. After that, we'll see.
Yeah. So, Nemo, what's up, man?
Nice to meet you, Willie.
Dr. Nemo.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just Nemo.
Just Nemo.
MD.
Oh, shit.
Just Nemo.
Amazing.
So he's stunting on me, man.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, but how do you see the comments?
Oh, shoot. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
So, yeah, today we have a fire show, and the show today is called Let's Swing. You could have a whole bunch of different ideas of what that means, but we'll cover it later. But remember the Kevin Hart, where he talks about his dad, and his dad doesn't wear underwear. You know, he always wears these pants without underwear, and something is always swinging.
I didn't see that bit.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I'm sure it's great.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's great.
So today's show is brought to you by who did this?
That is by Laura of Lolais Yummies,
Man,
right here in New
good.
Orleans.
Yeah, they
So
look so delicious.
So we got raspberry, lemon, chocolate caramel, and vanilla.
Yeah, those look so good. So
This is pretty much the reason I'm here. I mean, you guys can continue. Just give me my space.
Yeah, before you do that, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to the people out there. Who is Nemo?
Jethro, who's Nemo?
Nemo is a medical doctor.
Dude, why would you switch it? Let him talk for himself, yo. Okay.
He's been studying.
I've been studying.
Okay.
So, it's Dr. Namanja Baletic.
Yes.
Did I say that properly? So, he is, anyone who knows, if you hear an itch, you know he's Serbian, right? So,
Balkan. There's many itches in the
Balkan. So, he is an affiliate clinical researcher with Harvard Medical School in Massachusetts General Hospital, the Division of Reconstructive Surgery. He's also an affiliate doctor with the University of Arizona Center for Integrative Medicine. And is passion-oriented to natural approaches, which is, going to be even at the forefront a bit more on October 17th, but that's for a different show. And he's certified as a yoga and meditation teacher.
Wow.
There are many doctors who got all that, though.
Are you sure you're talking about me?
I think so. That's what I found on Wikipedia.
Wow.
And most of these things are actually true. It's weird.
How tall is this dude?
Real tall.
Like, he's really tall.
Real
Is he
tall.
taller than you? He's
Heck
taller.
yeah, he's taller than me.
How come you're so tall, man?
Lots of radiation in the Balkans.
Actually, for real though, what got you into medicine, man?
Well, I was actually at Ottawa U. I did my undergrad in kinesiology, human kinetics. And then I was playing ball too, playing basketball for the team. And I met a really inspiring professor, Professor Terry Orlick. And he had remember him?
Amazing. Yeah, he's
What
amazing.
a gangster. He was literally the one that pretty much started the field of sports psychology. And he had this master's program for people, so I was like, okay, I want to keep playing, I want to keep learning. It was there, so I did sports psychology for 2 years. And when I finished that, I was kind of like, well, it's not enough for me. I want to have more tools to be able to help people, work with people. And that's when I decided to go into medicine.
What do you learn in sports psychology?
So sports psych pretty much is a Western take on Eastern philosophy, being real. Like, if we're looking at things what is Eastern philosophy teaching us, being present, being mindful, sports psychology takes those principles and applies it to how people that are performing under pressure, athletes, surgeons, astronauts, anybody, businessmen, how can they use those principles to perform better at their specific task? So how do you train your focus? How do you relax? How do you regulate your energetic arousal levels to be in an optimal state?
How do you do that?
So I'll give you an example. Like a football player, what is their task, right? So like a linebacker, they have a very gross task, and that doesn't require too much fine motor thinking. So their energy, it has to be very high. So they need to ramp themselves up, hype themselves up. You know how that is. Mm-hmm. But for example, like an archer or somebody that does more fine, subtle things, can use the breath to relax because there is more fine motor complexity in their sport. So how do you manipulate one's energetic body to match the task. So that's a sports psych principle, for example, but it draws on Eastern philosophy principles.
That's so dope. And then you said you ended up in medicine. Why? Like after sports psych.
Yeah, because I just wanted more tools to work with people, right? Because when I saw certain things, I hate seeing a person and looking at them and there's something wrong, and I don't want to be the guy that can't do anything. You know, we came back from a war-torn country in the Balkans, and there's a lot of like peril there, and you want to ultimately go into those types of places and be able to offer something from the full spectrum, because sports psych talks about what is going from the zero to the positive to high performance. Medicine contemporarily talks about how do we get people from negative to zero. But the whole spectrum, no matter where anybody is, how do we take somebody from seemingly a negative situation all the way to performance? So that's what I was interested in. How do I put more tools into my toolbox to be able to do that?
So would you say that's your mission, is to get people to like peak performance?
I think my mission is to help people to relieve suffering, you know, whatever that means. You know, if somebody is looking for performance, there's tools for that. If someone's looking for health, there's tools for that. But I think ultimately right now it's more about self-realization, the evolution of medicine, understanding of consciousness, how is medicine evolving into now more of a vibrational frequency understanding, and that everything is really energy.
It sounds to me like self-realization is more of a rich people opportunity. People who are hungry may not even think about that. So are you like a doctor just for the people who got money, or?
Nah, man. So it's interesting you say that. There's actually a philosopher now, he's become more popular, Osho. You heard of him? There's like a Netflix series on him. And he was saying like, I'm a guru for the rich, but that's not because he was trying to exclude anybody. He was trying to explain to people that you're absolutely right. Just like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we need food and shelter, we need this, we need that. Then it's a question of self-actualization. So people that, you know, have certain things as a base will start questioning, okay, am I happy in my life? What is my purpose? Versus, for example, if you go to, you know, third world countries and war-torn countries, which, you know, I'm from one, people are looking at more practical things. You know, how do I survive? But they're also way happier in a way, because they're not worried about the mundane stuff. Oh, what is my life? Like, how am I feeling today? Like, what am I going to do?
Right,
Versus,
like a surfer.
No, it's just like, what can I do in a more practical way, right? So it's just like understanding everybody's needs and being able to offer it no matter what. You know, what my organization does, we offer treatment for people who can pay and who cannot pay, who can do many other things. There's many things you can do.
That's dope. And this was the first interview in this show.
Yeah, we just broke ground. We just broke ground. It was impromptu. But you know what? You have so much good advice that you have to now give us what your tip of the week is.
My tip of the week. So we're in the fall season, and energetically, fall is regarded as a season of change, a season of letting go. So ultimately, now's the time to start questioning, what are the things in my life that I can let go? Do I need to clear my space, clear my home, revisit certain relationships that need to be addressed, starting a new job or new position? So anything that needs to be cleared out is a good time to consider looking into that.
Dope.
That's the tip.
That's dope.
Cool.
That's dope. My tip is this. I didn't even say anything. You're laughing.
I know it's gonna be good.
Listen, I'm a normal dude, by the way. I say normal things, and they're pretty much boring.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. My tip is believe in something enough that you know you should be willing to give everything up for.
Oh, you're going Kaepernick on us right now. Woo! Woo! Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Really, what I'm saying is, don't just be good. Don't just be great. Be the best ever. That's my tip.
Okay, this podcast is not sponsored by Nike, just in case you were wondering.
That is hilarious.
But I truly believe in it. I had a conversation with a couple of people before coming to the show, and that's where the conversation went. It's like, if we're going to do some work, let's do the best possible work, period. And let's not just do what's good enough and what's expected. Let's just change the way people think and the way we think of ourselves. It should always make you feel uncomfortable and make others feel uncomfortable. Change does that. And being the best, you have to be able to make yourself uncomfortable to be able to achieve some of those like really like superhuman stuff? What's your tip?
Very cool. My tip is, if you look at someone and you're like, why is that person being, an a-hole or being mean or whatever?
Why are you talking to me?
I'm not
okay.
talking to you. I'm just saying, if you feel like someone is acting that way with you, look at yourself first. Are they just reflecting the energy you're giving them, or is it really them?
Where's that from? Who made you feel that way?
From the well of Jethro's wisdom.
That's just wisdom, man. It's true.
Because
what I'm saying is sometimes, like, not today, but sometimes let's say I wake up on the wrong side of the bed.
I couldn't help it.
let's just say I wake up on the wrong side of the bed and I'm grumpy.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yo, why are these kids getting on my nerve? Why is this person getting on my nerve? But I'm the one who woke up grumpy. You know what I'm saying? So look at yourself. Look at how you're acting, how you're feeling, before you start thinking someone else's energy is messing with you. It might actually be the other way around. So take a moment of self-reflection, essentially.
I believe that.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Exactly, man.
That's
dope. They say that the world is our mirror, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Michael Jackson said that. The man in the mirror.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Now, before we proceed,
to give you what you
need.
we set us up nice.
We need to taste some of these desserts from Lolais Yummies. And
all right, everybody, keep your hands out of it.
I was gonna say you're the guest. You're the one who's got to jump in first, anyway.
Is that how we do it here?
Yeah,
Guest
man.
her first.
Guest her first, always. Shout out to Laura from Lolais Yummies, man. These
thank you so much.
Incredible.
I'm a chocolate guy. That's my Achilles. So I'm gonna start with the chocolate one.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
Meanwhile, his pinky's touching every other.
I got big hands, man. What do you want?
He's like 6 foot. 13.
I got big hands.
Like, what do you want him to do?
Finesse.
Still, man. That's good.
Yeah.
Nice. So while
Laura, what is your number and when are you coming over?
we will post everything for you guys. So don't worry, we'll give you guys the hookup. So,
and I'm not even gonna ask if they're gluten free. It's all good. I don't care. I'm just not thinking about it. I'm not thinking about it.
It's like, you know what? It's like I was telling someone the other day. It's like Kentucky. Okay, I don't eat Kentucky very often. I eat it once every 5-6 months. Don't tell me what's in it. I don't want to know what's in it.
It's not chicken.
Just let me enjoy it and leave me alone. So, with that being said, while you're enjoying your food,
I'm still going at it. So,
Rob, what song are you vibing to right now?
There's a couple songs, okay, but I won't even count this one, the first one.
Okay.
The new Lil Pump Kanye West song.
It's fire. It's fire.
I love it.
I don't even know Lil Pump. I don't care about him, but Kanye's verse is incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's simple.
It's very simple.
Straight to the point.
But yes.
And the video is crazy.
Yes, but that's definitely going on the list.
Yeah.
Okay. Shout out to the Spotify playlist.
So the song, my real song of the week that I've been listening to is MIA, Born Free. It's one of the best videos you'll ever see in your life. Okay. So basically, you don't even see MIA in the video. What they do is the SWAT team goes around and they capture redheaded people.
Really?
And they bring them to this camp and slaughter them.
Wow.
It's a must see.
Okay.
I guess we're safe. No need to worry. We're good.
So for now.
What's your song of the week?
I was feeling Better by Khaled. Did you guys hear that?
I don't know it.
It's a good song.
It's a good song, man. I had it on repeat yesterday.
It's a good song.
How does it go?
I only heard it like twice, but when I listened to it, I was like, oh, this is really dope.
It's pretty much about just like deepening your relationship with that one girl that's always in your life, coming in and out, and appreciating what you have versus kind of looking elsewhere.
Hey, on that note, I want to give a big shout out to my wife, Kara, for throwing me my first ever birthday party.
Hey, Kara.
That was lit. Well, I don't care about the people that were there.
Do you remember it?
I was lit.
Do you remember it?
Dude, it was great. I had such a great time. Dude, thank you for coming through.
But do you remember it in pieces or?
I remember it very vividly, man.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
I'm gonna say I didn't get my invite because we didn't know each other then. So
yeah,
you're
because
forgiven.
we finally found Nemo.
Exactly. But if you would.
It's not the last time.
Oh my god.
It's not the last time.
No,
right?
no,
it's not the last
no. It's gonna be a trend for sure, for sure. So what is
what are you vibing to right now?
What am I vibing to?
Yeah.
So I watched the
There's
show. with my
caramel
wife.
in this, fellas.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey.
I watched this show. Yeah, it's chocolate caramel, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Laura, your muffins, your cupcakes are now officially doctor recommended. I gotta say.
Hey. I like that. I like that. That whole statement is an oxymoron, but I like it. I like it. I like it.
About power dripping.
I'm just trying to hype the woman's product, man. What are you doing? Don't blow my cover.
No, that's dope. Don't kill his vibe. No.
Oh.
That's not my song though.
I'm a Martian.
So I was watching this show with my wife called Insecure, which is dope, and there was this song that played called "Sober" by Mahalia, but it was like a Jiro something remix. Just it was one of those things that you can't help but just kind of bob your head to. So that's what I'm vibing to right now. Mahalia, "Sober" remix.
Nice
Remix. So moving forward, we're talking about music. Let's just put it out there, man.
Here we go.
Let's just put it out there, man. What are you thinking about this Machine Gun Kelly Eminem beef?
Oh my God, man! I'm thinking that the Giants woke, his eyes are open, and he's ready to go, man. Like honestly, like it's a classic example of what happens when, you go at an old line. Like a new line is coming up, he wants to kind of see what the pride is saying. He goes up against the old line, kind of calls him out, and this guy just obliterates him. I think MGK got a really good response. I think his song was good. It was decent. Even Shady said on Sway's interview that it was good. But it's just like Eminem just showed everybody again, as if he needed to. He showed everybody again that he's just on another level, and he took a kid that's coming up to school, and unfortunately, it might cost him his career. Like I doubt Shady wanted to do that. And he even said, "You're losing the battle that you picked." It's unfortunate, but it happened. So.
You know what? I agree with you to an extent. I think when Kamikaze came out, M was showing shades at everybody. The only person brave enough to say, you know what, I'm going to stand up, is Machine Gun Kelly. And I respect him for that. Everybody else has gone scared. He's only going to come out stronger. Maybe his career might drop after that, but he will come out a better person and a better man and a better competitor after this. So it'll be like, oh, okay, this is what it's like to be on that level or to compete at that level, whether he wins or not. I respect him for stepping up when nobody would. You know who does that? Heroes do that.
But you saying Ja Rule and Benzino are playing in the NBA still?
No.
Or they got demoted to the D League?
Yeah, but they became humbler men.
Well, Benzino's on Love and Hip Hop now. He's just gone.
But Ja Rule suffered the most. Not Benzino.
No, I got mad respect for him for stepping up to do that. It's just if you trace back, like, why did the original beef start? Is because 6 years ago, out of no reason, this guy tweeted. That
doesn't matter.
How does it not matter? This man tweets about his daughter. How does it not matter?
It will undermine my point.
Okay, but here's my question: Do you still respect MGK if you know that he only co-wrote that diss record?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big fact. I didn't know that.
Yeah, when you look up Rap Devil, he didn't write it alone.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But that could mean a lot of different things. It could be like a sample. It could be a lot of different things. He might say a line that kind of resembles something that he's heard or whatever, and he has to give out the credit. I don't know the extent of that.
Okay, it's possible.
Because think about it. Eminem's diss record with Joyner Lucas is co-written with Joyner Lucas.
Yeah, but just his part because they're both on the song. But there's no one else on the MGK song.
Who knows?
But there's no one else on the MGK song.
Damn, man. I didn't know
This
that.
is Eminem featuring Joyner Lucas. Right?
Yes.
So you have to put his name in the
But
credit. He's on it.
Who wrote whose verse? Do you know that? Do you know who did it?
Eminem is
Where'd
notorious
you get
for
that
having-
from? Where'd you get that fact?
Someone sent it to me.
Oh.
And it like makes sense. Like,
But does it matter?
We gonna fact check that or?
Nope, we don't fact check.
No,
No.
that's a big factor. It's actually
another
like
show. But what about? So we were talking about it a little bit earlier. So more and more news, because people are gonna obviously dive into this, and there was an Instagram post that came out with MGK, basically with a big crowd behind him, and he has the kill shot shirt, and he's like, he missed,
bad, man.
He missed hashtag leg shot. But then people are coming out and saying, I was at that concert, you weren't the headliner, you were just opening for Fall Out Boy. And when he took that picture, he told everyone in the crowd to put their middle fingers up, and then he turned around and got a picture taken of him and removed his sweater. So they didn't know.
Smart.
So they didn't know. They didn't know what he had on.
Doesn't matter, man.
No, but it matters now because it's coming out. No, but it's coming out now, so it's ugly.
I love it.
Ugly.
I respect him even more now.
You know what I got the most?
But he's gonna lose more people now.
Like
he's already losing more fans.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know what I got the most out of this? Yo, racist America just took another L. That's what I got out of this whole situation. Here's why. They had to deal with Colin Kaepernick being the face of Nike 1 week. Then they got to deal with, oh my God, there's like, why are these two white guys going after each other? Isn't that like a black thing? That they have beef? They steady taking L's.
It's funny, like so many old school rappers and new rappers, they say, yeah, stay away from M.
Mm-hmm.
Don't battle M.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna battle M. And I respect him for that.
No, I respect him. Even if it was co-written, just the fact that he still went at him, and it's known, like, it's career suicide usually to go after him.
Yeah.
So my first thought was he high? Like, that's the first thing I thought. He was just like, oh, okay, he's gonna go at it, because, for example, when Eminem first came out with The Ringer and Fall, where he was calling all these people out. I remember seeing Tekashi 6ix9ine made it seem like he was going to he's ridiculous, but you see him, like, he had an Instagram post where he was making it seem like he was writing something to clap back.
Yeah.
Then Killshot came out, he deleted the post.
Really?
He's like, yeah, no.
He's like, that's a bad idea. But to bring you back to your point, when you were talking about, like, an old lion, did we not learn after Pusha T and Drake?
Man, I don't know.
Like don't
clearly
go
people
after
forget.
don't go after old, like, OGs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even on TV shows, like gangster shows, whenever the young guy goes after the old guy, it usually doesn't end well.
Unless, that's just like the law of nature, though. Anywhere you have like group dynamics and people are coming up and they want to prove themselves, you're gonna have that.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's a natural order of things. You know, Eminem responded in a way that he does and he should.
Yeah.
And I just don't like the daughter thing. You know, that kind of like bugged me, that there was like a premise of out of nowhere this guy sends out a tweet. Like, what did you expect was going to happen?
Yeah,
realistically.
absolutely.
But that's been brewing a while, like you said. The whole Haley, is it?
Yeah.
Haley?
Yeah.
It's been brewing for a while, and it's only now, like, Eminem is just addressing it.
Yeah.
Full on.
Even the fact that he let it slide for 6 years, kind of surprising, which kind of maybe shows Eminem's maturity throughout the years. Isn't like, I don't want to get involved in this. Like, he was dragged into this. He could have jumped in so many times, so much quicker. Yeah. And I think also after Revival was booed and shunned, which was also interesting. If you actually watch Eminem in these interviews, you can see, like, it's like a sensitive person that is like, it's affecting him. Like, one of the greatest rappers alive is truly getting affected by what people are saying. What people are doing. It's like nobody's immune to this. Everybody wants to be accepted. And
he's human.
Yeah.
He's human. Exactly.
No, he's a rap god.
Well, that's a good song.
But talking about the old line versus the new line, I have two examples that the old line gets got. One example is Omar from The Wire gets killed by...
Spoiler alert. Jesus.
The
Spoiler
show.
alert.
How old is the show? The show is like 10, 15 years old now.
Yeah, but some people have never heard of the show.
That's their problem.
Screw you guys.
Yeah. He gets got by a kid.
I love how you're saying that, like, you just kept going, because there's 5 seasons of the show, and people are going to watch episode 1 and be like, damn it! and power.
Okay. The old dog gets had by a kid. And I'm not even going to say which old dog I'm talking about.
I mean, every old dog gets got, right? You look at a mixed martial arts, like everybody's coming for the champ. Everyone's coming for the old champ, and the champ knows you're gonna get dethroned. It's just gonna happen.
Unless you're Floyd in boxing.
True.
Yeah, that's
That's
actually a great example.
Yeah. But he's just like a special case, though.
He's smart.
He's smart.
He's fighting Pacquiao in December.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's what he said. He should fight Canelo. Is Canelo on this?
No.
Oh, dude, Canelo. Did you guys watch the fight?
I didn't, but I heard it was a man.
I remember it wasn't working, so I didn't watch it.
Supposedly, there's gonna be a third fight.
Well, there should be. Like, it was, from what I heard, all the mixed martial arts reviews.
Yeah.
It was really evenly matched. It was a war for 12 rounds, and you got to do it again. Like, people will pay to see that.
But isn't it a disadvantage because the older guy just keeps getting older, and the other guy's still like in his prime?
Yeah.
So I feel
like still struggling.
And still, yeah.
It's still struggling.
Yeah, he's still struggling. So that kind of tells you, like, if the OG was in his prime, like, it probably wouldn't be close.
You know what? I have to give it up to Triple G for fighting this young lion.
Yeah.
Because we have another situation of Chuck Liddell fighting Tito Ortiz. One guy's 48, the other guy's 45. What?
Like, that is like that's a terrible decision.
Someone might go to the hospital and know.
Yo, somebody has to
that's
pay
That's Oscar De La Hoya right there. The Oscar De La Hoya being like, how can I make the most money? How can I drag these people back into their game? Like, if you listen to Dana White talk about, Chuck fighting again, he's like, no, God, like, stop, don't. If you look at him shadowboxing now,
it's weird.
His movements, you could tell, man, the guy's old. It's nothing against him, one of the greatest fighters ever, but Dana White is cringing, not because he doesn't want the best, they're actually really close friends, him and Chuck, but Oscar shouldn't be dragging a man like that back into battle for his own benefit.
Yo, I would never take Dana White's word for nothing. Okay? Like, he has Brock Lesnar, who's been tested for steroids, to come back, and he's an old guy too. So he's putting Brock Lesnar against his guys on the juice, who could potentially hurt people.
That's a good point.
And the last few times he's been in the ring, things didn't necessarily go too well for him, except for Mark Hunt, who has the worst luck to fight steroid guys.
That's all he fights.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
See what happened this weekend to him?
Yes.
The boa constrictor.
Yo, I like that guy though.
Olenek.
I like that guy.
Man.
He
is a Russian constriction machine.
Yo, you know what? On that note of Russian fighters and stuff, how do you think the fight is gonna go between Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov?
Who's gonna go first? I think I'm gonna need some time for this one.
Okay. Conor will not survive.
Oh my God!
Okay, I think Conor will come in, just like he did against Floyd. He's gonna come in and try to go fast and control the pace, and I think Khabib is gonna let him do that and wear him down, because Conor is known for not having a gas tank, and Khabib, he's not known for his striking. He's known for his ground and pound, so he will maul Conor on the ground. As soon as they get down on the ground, it's over. And if I'm Khabib, that's what I'm gonna do. I don't think Conor has a chance to win this fight.
So have you just as an aside, like, have you ever seen Conor take a fight that wasn't calculated in a way?
Yeah, he took the Nate Diaz fight.
But that was like a huge risk. That was like he's going up in weight, but like a guy his weight class.
Wait. He wasn't going up in weight. Like the first fight.
Yeah, he fought at 170.
170. But he was good because he wasn't like really gaining weight. He was on his way down until his opponent got.
I mean, it doesn't matter. He still went from 155 to 170, which is a big difference when you're fighting somebody. Point being, like, yeah, that was a risk, but most fights that he picks, he knows he can win. Like, his team is very smart. John Kavanagh, one of the best coaches in MMA, he's not going to walk into something that he truly doesn't believe that he can win. And if you look at Conor's grappling, like now he's training with Dylan Dan, he's training with a lot of these ground and pound guys, it's improved. And when he fought Chant Bennett, for example, that's an example of how even a strong wrestler got him down a couple of times. Conor's hard to keep down. With his movement, he's weird with his movement, he gets back to your feet, he butches you again. So I think everybody knows not to charge right away at Khabib. If anything, Khabib charges Conor, and he gets slipped with that left. And that's a very possible thing that can happen, because these guys are each other's kryptonite.
But with Khabib, his chin hasn't really been challenged. it hasn't really been.
He took one shot and he was
by
woozy.
Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was woozy, but he's never been knocked out.
No.
That means it's the integrity of his chin is still there. He's not like a.
So was Jose Aldo's.
Yes, I guess so. I guess so.
Yeah, but
Khabib doesn't go through the battles that Jose Aldo goes through during training. Because the guys in Brazil go through that stuff.
But the other thing is, I forget who it was. I want to say maybe it was John Dodson, actually, who was talking about it. And he said, people don't understand. Like, you could just go like this, and if someone walks into it at 100 miles an hour, like, you're going out, right?
But
so
that's where Conor shines.
Connor's
Timing,
precision is...
For a counter.
Exactly.
Anyways, this has become an MMA show.
Like, shout out to Joe Martin.
Shout out to Conor McGregor.
Okay. So what do you think?
Shout out to Khabib.
Yo, you know what? My favorite clip, like one of my favorite clips that I've seen in a long time in MMA, and then we'll move on, was when, I can't remember if it was Ariel Helwani, but one of these journalists was asking Khabib about fighting Conor, and this was a while back. And he says, you think that Dana and friends, they don't make fight? Think about this.
I like your Russian accent.
Beginning of year, he says, beginning of year, Conor tap like chicken. End of year, he fight for title. You think he don't know? Come on. This is number one bullshit. When I heard that, that's the name of my fantasy football team. This is number one bullshit.
Number one bullshit?
Oh my god, I was dying.
I want to fight with your chicken.
Yeah. So, moving on. So, there's a couple. We want to address a few things because, man, there's a lot of news in the world. But one of the most interesting stories I saw was there's a 26-year-old Nigerian robotic engineer who is now the highest paid robotics engineer in the world. What do you think about that?
I think that's amazing, man. Like, what did he create? That it's called the Mechamon, that little spider that moves and has emotions, and now Apple picked him up. I think it's wild. I think the things that robot can do is amazing. It's showing emotion, and it can be controlled in various ways, and it's fantastic that a kid from a place. Well, it's like he didn't really grow up in poverty. Like I think I read up on him. His family was lower middle class family, supplied it. But it's amazing for somebody to make it out of that environment, follow their passion in something as intricate as robotics and technology, and create an absolute wave of change, and picked up by Apple.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's unreal.
That's really cool. What do you think?
I don't know why it's a story. Everybody has the opportunity to create dope shit.
That's true.
So
that's true.
I do think that whatever school system that we're in, we should always encourage kids not to necessarily become engineers or to become doctors, but to make a change in the world and to follow their that thing that they love and use that skill as a tool and not become the tool. So I think this kid is using the tool to make the world better, to create opportunities for himself.
Makes sense.
That's my take on it. However, I was able to use that story to encourage my boys because one of them wants to be an engineer, and the first question he asked, it's funny, he didn't care if he was black or white. He just wanted to know what the guy did.
That's cool.
And I thought that was really interesting.
That is very cool. First of all, Joel Martin said the robots don't have emotion, don't show emotion.
That's what they were saying. They were saying how, not like full emotion, but that it has certain mannerisms. For example, before it battles another robot, then it has little movements that are contingent of emotion. But that's like a scary thought because...
So it's almost like realistic.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what the kid was saying, Silas, right?
Yeah.
He was saying how most of the robotics that came before his robots was that it was very linear, it was very mechanistic, and he was the first one to be able to create that fluidity, which is kind of interesting to see this thing like crawling across the floor.
That's very cool. That makes me think very like Elon Muskish, where he's like, be afraid of AI and all this other stuff.
Here's the greatest point in this story is, where's this going to go? Who's going to pick it up? Is it going to fall into the wrong hands? Where can this kid take this stuff eventually? And that's why all technology needs to be preceded by consciousness. First have consciousness, and then that technology serves consciousness in that expansion, versus when you create technology without consciousness, you create things like heat-seeking missiles and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, whose conscience will it take on? Whose conscience will it take on?
I mean, when I say conscious, I mean, for people to be aware and awake when they're working with technology. Does this technology bring us closer to unity, oneness, what we truly are? Does it improve our lives, or is it a technology that will be a detriment to our lives? For example, even creating something ergonomic that's going to create us, let us sit more. That's not a useful technology.
Yeah.
Because it, deprives us of movement.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like anything else, in moderation.
Yeah.
Right? If we use it for the right reasons, for the right time, and for the right everything, it'll be great. But like even KFC, we talked about KFC. It's not made to be eaten every day, right? But we eat it every day.
It's made to be eaten never.
Don't tell
No, I'm just kidding.
Don't tell nobody. No, I get it. But you know what? When I saw the story, I was talking to my cousin Rudy, and he's the one who messaged me, and he's like, "Yo, Wakanda forever?" Like we just saw this in a movie, like a couple of months ago, and we got a 26-year-old young man of Nigerian descent.
Yo, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's a good point, man.
No,
I didn't think about
that's
that.
crazy.
That makes me think. Because
Yo, Silas, tell us the secret. Seriously, where's Wakanda? Tell us.
you know who'll tell you where Wakanda is? Stan Lee, because he created it.
This is true.
So
Stanley's on
the stories about this guy is probably created by someone like Stan Lee.
or that he did it.
I love his cameos in movies, man. They're so awesome.
They're awesome.
They're the best. They're always like so subtle.
I'm gonna be very sad when that guy passes away.
Yo, they'll put him in like a Tupac concert. You know what I mean?
Like as a hologram.
As a hologram, they'll put him in still. Like no
That's
matter
true.
what.
That's true.
I think they're probably going to put him in those cameos
Forever.
like, forever. Because
Yeah.
you can CGI that now.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, absolutely.
That's what I just said.
Is that what you meant? That's what you meant? Okay, cool.
Like,
cool.
you're taking credit for my.
don't get
I didn't
You
know
got
that's what you
butthurt
meant.
so fast.
Like, this is my point.
Yo,
Stan Lee's my point.
Yo, you want to take your ball and leave? Like I don't.
Here, take the
Or
muffins.
maybe that's how he got his PhD.
Who?
Stan Lee? Stan Lee?
No, he's just shooting daggers at you. That's all he's doing.
Oh,
That's
it's
all
an
he's
MD.
doing.
It's not a PhD.
It's
Is that what the kid told you?
Fight! So, like we said, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, man. Talking about Wakanda, the world, all that good stuff. Now, the UN just came out with a report, and they said that hunger is going to like an astronomical number on the planet. Okay,
Yeah.
but they're saying that the reason for that is climate change. Where does your mind go when you hear that?
Okay, first of all,
Okay.
I gotta say something. I saw an Instagram post today, and I saw you liked it. It's like a guy.
What else did he do today?
Stalker stuff right there.
I liked it, and I saw that you liked it. Period. It was like.
And then you never call me back. Somebody likes the post.
This guy comes into Trump's office and talks about this. What's the storm that's coming?
Florence.
Says, "Oh, what should we do about Hurricane Florence?" And Trump says, "Just give them the same deal we gave Stormy Daniels."
I had to like it. It was amazing.
Oh my
It
god.
was great. Anyways, going back to seriousness.
Yes, back to world hunger, guys. Come on, just back to this
Stormy
tiny
Daniels to
topic.
world hunger. Jeez.
But it makes sense. Climate change for world hunger on the planet. It makes sense because think about if the bears, like if the polar bears, ice and stuff is receding, and there's less opportunity for them to make a living and to eat and stuff like that. It would make sense that it would affect people on the planet, right?
That's true.
True.
What's funny?
But would you not?
But she's bringing up polar bears. That's awesome.
But do you not think that part of this hunger problem is that there are the haves and the have-nots, and how a lot of people just hold on to, the resources and the
point.
money and all that stuff.
What do we call that? We call that democracy. We call that capitalism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hashtag
So
sapiens.
if
But
you're
continue.
if you're poor
Mhm.
and you can't eat,
Mhm.
capitalism says just work harder.
A
and you
closed
will-
mouth don't get fed.
Exactly.
But I just hated that I saw that caption. I was like, are we just going to ignore that there's like, 10% of the world that owns 90% of it? Like, I feel like that's kind of like, really, we're not going to talk about that at all. We're going to blame it on climate change. I know climate change is real.
Yeah.
I'm not Agent Orange. Like, I believe climate change is a real thing. You know what I mean? But to say that that's like, one of the primary issues, I'd be like, well, how much of
It's good to know that you're not a flat Earth person. That's good.
You don't know that?
What?
You don't know that?
What?
Jet believes that the Earth is flat.
Whoa! Don't make that stuff go viral. Like, I don't believe.
All right. Anyways, so the statistic
No.
was that in 2016 it was like 804 million people worldwide, and now it's at 821. And the large reason is that the climate change is causing crops not to be able to grow as much, and the places that are the most affected are Africa and South Africa. Which is like adding insult to injury, obviously, and then brings up your point, which is a great point of unequal distribution of resources. And again, that gets into a much bigger picture. But interestingly enough, you can have hunger and malnourishment in places outside of third world countries. Like example, in the States, we have a rise in obesity, we have malnutrition, but we have access to food. But the thing is, people that are low income are not buying nutritious food, so they're gaining weight and they're not getting nutrition, so they're also undernourished as well. Example, a statistic that's interesting is that in Africa as well as in Asia, mothers breastfeed 1.5 times more than in North America, which causes massive problems, for children here, like increase in obesity, diabetes, ear infections for kids. Growth rates are different, so that's just to note these differences.
So here's my question. I know I'm going a little bit off topic here, but from a medical standpoint, why do you think there's such a stigma with like breastfeeding for a long time? Because I know in other countries like they'll breastfeed till they're like the kid's like 5, 6, walking and talking.
Before.
Oh, Roberto again.
Yo.
No, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
It's fine.
Okay, so it's,
Fine.
it's just here that it does it.
Jets.
Okay. No, we
was
just
fine last time too, and you stopped it.
okay.
Just
we're
keep going, Jet.
good. Okay, we're good.
Where we at? Breastfeeding?
So before Nemo answers this question, let's see what our viewers have been saying up to this point, and then you can answer it.
Well, it's just saying like Joel's saying like seriously, climate change is real, which we 100% agree with you. That
Isn't it crazy that that's the conversation? Is that it's real or it's not?
Yeah.
Instead of talking about
how
what-
can do
Yeah.
we do better?
Yeah, that's insane, man. Like, and the thing that's crazy is that some people just say, "Oh no, it's made up. It's not true." Blah blah blah. Like, that's insane. I can't believe that. But anyway, what can you do? So, like we said, there's the whole situation with the haves and have-nots. There's real things with climate change. The thing I found interesting too is, have you ever heard of those blocks in the States? Right, they're almost like Stonehenge-ish. I forget where they are, but they have like these rules written on them, and nobody knows who put them there. And it says something like keep the world's population under 250 million.
Really?
Yeah. I'll have to look it up and I'll try and post it.
Wow, 250?
Yeah, that's what it says. Like,
Thanos wrote it. For real.
Did he snap his fingers too? No, seriously, like it's like I'll try and find
Man's
it.
got more rings than Jordan, geez.
Oh.
Yo, no one man should have all that power. Just putting it out there. Yeah, but it's true that when you think about it, the planet is overpopulated. When you think about it,
By what? By bugs or by us?
by people.
By people.
Yeah,
Well, that's
what's
because of the lack of resources leading to a lack of education, which then obviously leads to certain behaviors that will lead to that overpopulation.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
going back to your question about breastfeeding.
Yeah.
So what? Yeah. So why is there such a stigma with that?
So with breastfeeding, it's like what's happening right now in the States. What the recommendations are is that we breastfeed our children until they're 1 year old.
We breastfeed them, yes.
Breastfeed our children until they're 1, and the American
The
American Academy of Pediatrics recommends until 1 year, and then the World Health Organization recommends up to 2.
Oh, wow.
Breastfeeding exclusively until 6 months, and then adding these complementary foods after that, slowly introducing them. So in America, only about 25% of mothers are breastfeeding at 6 months of age, and only 25% at 1 year.
I wonder how many women get like breast implants. You know, the rate of actually using their breast and the rate of augmenting their breast.
Why is that relevant to
don't
breastfeeding?
Worry don't worry about it. Anyway,
yeah, point being is that that's a huge problem because the child is not getting the nourishment it needs, and it's free and it's available. It's something that we can provide. So creating environments for women to actually be able to breastfeed and creating support socially as well as in a hospital in the work environment until at least 1 year of age, which will be extremely beneficial for the kid because it's shown that with a mother's milk, the colostrum as it's called, is that the child actually grows at a better rate. They gain weight more slowly, which leads to less obesity in the children. It leads to decrease in diabetes. It's overall a much better thing. So if we can breastfeed.
But why is it that it's not as encouraged?
I don't think it's not. It is encouraged. I think the guidelines are clear, and a lot of these medical academics make it well known. It's just like a social thing, right? It's time consuming. It's frustrating. It's regarded as a bad social stigma. Like, oh look, like, and it's not that. It's
put your titty away.
Well, it's like coming to terms with our humanity and our sexuality, understanding that that's an absolutely normal part of life, and that it should be encouraged. So that's how can we not so much look at the numbers, but create more of a safer and more encouraging environment for that normal practice to be done.
Based on the numbers, I'm curious to know, like, when did it start really declining? When did it get to like 50%? Right? Which period of time?
25. It's at 25.
Do you think also that with like, over time, where initially women stayed home, and then they're more and more in the workplace. Do you think that
is the feed still live on your phone?
Okay. Do you think that maybe that had something to do with it?
It definitely has an effect, but most women that are breastfeeding are still on maternity leave. That's the reality of it, right? Okay. So most of the time you won't find them in the workplace, and that's kind of the way it should be. It should be the time with the baby and the mother. It's a really important time of bonding as well. But if it so happens that the mother does return to the workplace, this is where the social aspects come into it, to create workplaces, to have a room for that, a room for mothers with all the necessary things to make them comfortable and the child comfortable so this thing can continue.
That sounds like a pretty good idea, man. Like, you know how there's like prayer rooms and
exactly.
In bathrooms, there should be like a breastfeeding room,
100%.
That's cool.
That's really cool. So, click the like button for that conversation. That was really interesting. The fact that, we went from climate change to breastfeeding to all those other things.
To MMA.
That's right,
man. That's how we do it here. Diversify.
So, continuing along that line, we're going to go back into sports just for a second. Because during a football game on Sunday, there was a player who retired at halftime. Like, he was playing.
Of all the crazy topics that you sent me, that one was like, I was like, okay, world hunger, I got that, understand. But this was really difficult to comprehend, I gotta say. But, in a way, I do understand. You want to go first, or should I?
No, go ahead, man.
You know what, like, if we're a player to retire at halftime, it's interesting, right? And he was regarded by one of his teammates as like, I'm going to be more supportive of him than the way he quit on us. Yeah. So automatically he was labeled as the quitting and stuff. But I think there's a difference between quitting and letting go, if that makes any sense. But to do it mid-game is an interesting decision. But the only kind of reference in my mind that can come up to rationalize the situation for myself was just like a relationship. If you've ever been in a relationship that you've tried so many different things over and over and over again, and you just get to the point where like, no more, not even 1 second. You know what I'm saying? So if this guy had that kind of moment on this field and he wasn't all in, imagine sending a football player in a game where literally you can have concussions that, bones can be broken, ACLs can be torn, and he doesn't want to be there.
That's worse.
Man can get hurt, and most of all, like, he's not going to be good to his teammates anyways. But again, is it the right decision? It's about really, if that was what he wanted to do for him out of like a self-love thing, I can't hit on that. But on another aspect, it's like there's the argument of, do you stick by your troops? Do you stick by your team? How do you follow that through? But it's also not a war. It's not like a life and death situation. So it's a difficult thing.
But the context as well, though, is so he got beat on a touchdown in the first quarter, or whatever, and then he got pulled. So he wasn't even playing.
Oh, okay.
He just decided, nah, that's it. Like, he felt like there was a moment at halftime. But the thing is, it kind of seems like he knew what he was doing because he put out this whole statement on Instagram, then posted it at halftime, saying, like, you know, my body's not in it, so on and so forth. Now, what's interesting is I've been trying to look at this from different angles as well, like what's going on.
Yeah.
And this kind of comes back to the whole Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz fighting thing, because what some of the people were saying was that he didn't want to be there. He didn't want to play. Like, it's been a while.
Yeah.
He checked out. But they keep telling him, oh, come play for us, we'll give you $2 million. We'll give you $2 million just to play one season for us. So it's very difficult for him to be like, nah, I'm not going to do that. But, like, he's already checked out. But then they're like, we'll give you $2 million if you come and play for us for a year. And then just at that moment, he collected a couple of checks, I guess. And then he was just like, nah, I'm done.
You know, I remember hearing an interview with Brock Lesnar when he got cut from training camp at the Vikings. He said it's he was glad that he didn't make it because it's like the most dangerous thing he's ever done in his life. It's playing football.
Wow.
This guy is a heavyweight.
It's a big statement.
Champion in MMA, and he's in the WWE.
Yeah.
Right? Like, those things are extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
But when you got, like, guys who are way bigger than him coming at you full speed, trying to rip your head off.
Yeah.
Like, your spine is at play. Your head is at play. Everything's at play.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is, how is that different from being cut at halftime? It happens all the time.
Do we get cut at halftime?
You can get cut at any given time. If you suck, that's it. Okay, you're done.
Yeah, but what they do is the cut at halftime. They would just leave you on the bench or leave you on the sideline or something. They wouldn't literally say, like, you're cut, you could go home.
Yeah, but you could go, if you get cut, you could go home. You could decide to bounce if you want to.
I guess.
Right?
I guess.
Like, I feel like it's him taking the control of his career in his hand and not having somebody else tell him you're cut. I think, to me, it's the fact that he decided that instead of him being cut from the team.
I maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because, like, we all play football and stuff. I almost feel, though, that he could have just either before the game, I would have, like, just, I think personally, if you would have checked out, you could have checked out before the game or after the game, or even, let's say they did pull him. He could have been on the sideline cheering for his teammates, knowing he's not going back in, at least.
But why cheer for your teammates when you're just not there? You're mentally checked out. Like, dude, I'll share a quick story with you guys. I had this job once, and I went there, and I heard a story. My first day, I heard a story that this other guy came, and he quit after his first break, right? I started working the job. It was extremely, like, laborious. And I'm like, yeah, I don't like this job. Guess what happened? After my first break, I just went home. Like, I didn't care. Because I'm like, this is not going to bring me anything. There goes my integrity and my respect with them. But at that particular moment in time, I couldn't care less what they thought of me. I'm like, this is not for me. I don't need to know these people. I'm not trying to do anything. If later on in life I cross that bridge, dude, I'll be like, look, this is what happened. I'll be straight. If they're willing to work with me again on a different basis, fine. If they're not, fine. Yeah. But at that particular moment, I was like, there's no way I'm going to put myself through that and kill myself internally.
That's exactly what I was saying, is that if you're going against yourself, sometimes the person boils over so much that they just can't. And I think that's an honoring of the self, an honoring of free will. Good for him for exercising it. You know, it's difficult to understand in the context, but, you know, the man has a right to his own decisions and his own free will.
How long has he stewed over that? Right?
It's a good point. Who knows what his mental state was? That's what his coach was saying. I was listening to the ESPN stuff. He's like, I can't say anything because he's always been a committed player. He's always worked really hard to support his team. For something like this to happen, it's like, you know, there might be something in the background.
Oh, yeah. But that's what I'm saying.
Better that
before.
Better that than suicide. Because we've heard and we've seen a lot of cases where people who we thought were doing great are dealing with major demons, right? and then you hear, oh wow, we never saw that coming. This guy's, from my point of view, hopefully it's not at that point, but this guy has taken control over his life in the public's eye, whether he intended that or not. And I gotta say, yo, kudos to him for being brave enough not to just do what other people will say. You must do this, so you have to do it this way. Yo.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Cool. So, with school, resuming, it's September. CBC actually ran a story I found very, very interesting. That at the University of McMaster, they're starting this new program. Maybe it's been around for a couple of years, but it's been talked about a bit more now. They have this housing program that they've started where they're matching up students with seniors in terms of living arrangement. I found that really, really interesting. I personally love seniors. I find them to be just a wealth of knowledge.
So I'm really having a good time with you. It's true.
Oh, snap. Oh, snap.
I just found out how old Jethro actually was today, so I gotta jab at him a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm black.
Got the young gene too.
I'm actually 53 years old.
Yeah. And I'm a young 46.
but what do you think of that? Like, if you went out of town for school, would you live with like an 83-year-old, widow?
Yes.
Okay.
I grew up in a family I grew up in a household that is co-generational.
Yeah.
We have myself, the youngest. Then we have my parents, and then we have my parents' parents, all living in the same house. That's all I knew.
What's your ethnic background?
Yeah, I'm Haitian.
Nice.
Oh, Haitian, man. Come on, man.
Except for
I
him.
didn't meet the man. I gotta know.
So I've always lived that way, and it's great to see my parents making decisions, and my grandma would say, guys, maybe you should think about it this way, right? Because they're in it. Sometimes when you're too close to the situation, you don't see everything. Mm-hmm. And if you ever talk to someone much, much older than you, one of the thing that they do best is they help coach you. They help give you the right advice to go through life. And you know what we have as younger people? We have energy, but we have a lot of stupidity. So if we can mix their wisdom and their life lessons with our youth and eagerness, I think they will help us save a lot of time and a lot of years and a lot of headache. So I'm definitely all for it.
Cool. What did you think?
I think it's fantastic. Honestly, I read it and I was so impressed by this girl. First of all, as an entrepreneur, for her to put that together, it's unreal. So one of the big problems we have right now when dealing with the senior population is isolation, dementia, things like that, and loneliness. Yeah. That's right. If you read these studies, it's like loneliness is almost as bad as smoking like 15 cigarettes a day. It shows an increase in death tolls as well, and it's a huge problem. Mental health issues. So for people to be living together in those scenarios, and if you look at the opposite, look at the students, for example, 70% of all students are reporting that they're lonely. This is an undergraduate, let alone medical school, where, believe it or not, 70 to 80% of students are taking ADHD medications, doing all this stuff to actually cope with the stresses. So to pair those two together, it's mutually beneficial. First the student can save a little bit of money on their housing. They can have a company themselves, and they can provide company and receive mentorship from the elderly person. I mean, like I've lived this myself when I went to med school. It's like you have to, in a way, isolate yourself. You have to change your whole life. It's like, remember, I was at OTYT playing ball, going out. When I got to med school, it is a whole new level, and you have to radically change your life. I mean, I erased my social media. I did everything I needed to do so I could focus.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's healthy to do that, but it's also important to maintain those connections and understand that you are with certain people. It's not a competition. And drawing on those social relationships. Like there's actually a cool study in mice and in rats where we took rats, like not us, but like this researchers did, like put rats together to heal versus rats by themselves. And the rats that were together actually healed much faster. And we're seeing that this concept of, it's what oneness medicine realistically is. It's the understanding that self-transcendence and community is the most healing aspect of ourselves.
It's funny, like it just reminds me of like when you see indigenous people, we see we see them as being backwards and almost prehistoric. It's not coming out. Say it for me.
Prehistoric.
Yes.
Yeah.
But more and more we're realizing, oh snap! A lot of the things they do, they like there's a reason why they do it.
Right.
Like they do live with all these different generations. You know, everybody has a place in the society. Nobody is like, disposable like plastics that we have, right? And all the garbage. Everybody has their place and has their has a say. You know, has a voice, which is great. And I strongly believe in that type of ideology. What about you?
I was gonna say, man, I 100% agree because I spent some time working in retirement homes as a physio.
They smell funny, huh?
You know what? They smell. It depends. It depends on which one.
Snap.
Some of them.
You're not supposed to answer that.
No, listen. I didn't say anything negative. I'm just saying they have their own scent. Some people like their cologne that they've been wearing for 50 years, and other people just smell like baby powder all the time. Like it depends, right? And a lot of them smell like Werther's Original.
Oh wow!
They love that candy. Seniors love
juice.
Seniors love
Chanel
Werther's.
89 or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. but you know what? From time to time, when I go see some of those residents, that was the highlight of their day. Just because they would be able to talk to someone for a couple of minutes, and the stories. Oh my god,
dude! The stories are the best.
Their stories.
When I was
amazing.
working in the hospital, just listening to older patients, it's amazing.
Their stories are amazing. And you got the ones that like lived through the war. You got some of them that grew up in different parts of the world. Like it's awesome. And just doing this, like you said, it will increase like their mental health and their physical health. Because they'll be moving around, doing different things in the house, and some people will actually be like, hey, let's go take a walk, and let's as opposed to them just being isolated. Especially, what's cool about it is that it's at McMaster,
right,
which is in Canada, right? So it gets cold, then people get seasonal affective disorder, right? So
what's that?
It's basically like it's a seasonal, like the way it affects people seasonal and makes them more likely to like to be depressed and low energy and all those different type of things. Am I correct, Doc?
Essentially it's looking at the way sunlight is affecting you, levels of melatonin as well. So a lot of the times we have these sunlight lamps now that can be utilized to increase the mood of people, because people tend to get a bit more depressed when it's like a winter time or something like that. So
yeah, absolutely. So like taking all of those things into account, I think just those type of programs are actually, they may not necessarily be tangible because they're not keeping statistics on it and numbers on it. It's probably increasing some of these people's life expectancy and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Like it just reminds me of like the whole idea of going sustainable and going green. I feel like it shouldn't just be for industry. It should also be for our lifestyles and the way our communities are set up too. And ultimately, if we change those, they will help change every other aspect of our lives, right?
Yeah.
I just think that there's an important point here is that people can get the wrong idea about like isolation and being alone, because there's a difference between loneliness and aloneness. So loneliness is kind of like a negative state where you're in the absence of the other, versus aloneness is a positive state where you're happy being with yourself, which is a paradox in our society, right? Like nobody wants to be alone, but everybody's afraid of committing or going deeper. So we're in this weird paradox, and now with social media, like even, ironically enough, even like a show like this, like why are reaction videos popular? Because people are so isolated, they don't actually have friends. So it's just like when something cool happens, a fight or this or that or whatever, oh, like cool, let me go share some time with these people or this or that. Like
that's a tip right there.
I mean, that's what it is. That's what people are looking for, friends. We're looking for each other. So that's what it is. It's understanding that building that aloneness, through meditation and mindfulness, transcending certain things that everyone's afraid to transcend, and building that self-love so you're not afraid to be alone. But because you're not afraid, you also are free to love, because you're not going to be needing somebody. You're going to be enjoying their time. So loneliness versus aloneness are important things to differentiate.
I agree with Dr. Nemo. Big time. Okay.
Would you say that Dr. Nemo found the answer?
Oh! Is that you getting back to him?
Sorry, I've been holding on to that for a while.
Where's that from?
I
I didn't get that.
I don't know how the stuff I work
I
with,
was like, is that a thing? I didn't get
It's,
that.
it's a dark place. It's a dark place. So we're almost done, you guys.
What are the? Don't tell them we're almost done. What are they saying?
Man, I'm enjoying this.
No, we just got a couple people that are just paying attention, and James Sick is saying, "Doctors in the building, what up?" You know, that's pretty much it. Just chilling. But let us know, you guys. Let us know what you guys are thinking with regards to this stuff. But we are almost done. Sorry, Rob, we're almost done. Click the like button because this has been a fire conversation so far. But I don't know if you guys heard, but there's an actor named, I think it's Jeffrey Owens. He used to play Alvin on the Cosby Show.
Mm.
And there was this huge thing that came out in the news because someone job shamed him because he was working at Trader Joe's. Okay, I'm not really sure what a Trader Joe's is. Can you tell me that? I picture like a Home Depot.
So that is kind of like the more affordable version of Whole Foods in the States.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And it's actually like a good spot. You can get really good organic food for relatively cheaper prices than at Whole Foods.
Okay.
That's
okay.
So I got a nice
good
grocery
idea.
store.
Yeah. So he got job shamed for working there, and there was like outrage on like people saying like how dare you guys job shame? And then he actually came to the forefront and he's like, I don't really understand this whole job shaming thing. Like, people are just trying to make a living. Like, whether I was an actor back in the day, an actor now, or whatever the case may be. But what are your thoughts on people, or just this happening, like someone getting job shamed?
Well, you know what? We have to put our own insecurities and project it onto other people, right? Like, if I'm unhappy with myself, I will try to make somebody else unhappy. I'll try to blame somebody else for it. Like, this guy, he has had all the opportunities in the world to become a major movie star or a celebrity, but here he is working a regular 9 to 5 like me. You squandered your opportunity. I will shame you for that. And that's what happened. But I wouldn't. But I do respect him for supporting his family, for doing his stuff, for supporting himself, and not being a deadbeat. Right? He's doing what he has to do. And also, like, we don't know what his plans are. We don't know what he's trying to do with his life. We don't know any of that. Like, when tough times happen, man, like, it's either you just sit back and you let it happen, or you do something about it. This dude is taking life under his control, and he's making the right decisions. Like, who am I to tell this guy that you should be ashamed of working there? Yeah. You know what? He's providing for his family, but he's working at a very cool place, like you said, that provides organic foods at a more affordable price. Like, think about what Trader Joe's is doing, right? Like, he's helping other people get their stuff.
He's probably getting a discount, man.
Somebody made a comment. They were like, well, he's making more money than Cosby right now. Which was a roast.
I don't know. Cosby owns a lot of royalties and all these.
No, we know what he owns.
licenses.
It's just that the joke is that
it's a bad joke.
Kobe's not
Thanks
working.
for
He's just rude. But the point is that when we're looking at, I don't think that he's squandering certain opportunities, because if you look at even the nature of the acting profession, sometimes people are filling certain roles, and for a long time a role doesn't come along. It's not because they're a bad actor or anything. Is that the castings are going through? They're just not looking for that person in that scope. It's really understandable that something can happen to a person like this. And the whole premise is that people are putting valuations on what people are doing, and that's inherently the wrong approach, because it causes like, you're better because of this or that. We see that a lot. Like, oh, be a doctor, be a lawyer. These are like elevated professions, but they're not. If you take somebody, for example, that's a farmer, that gets up every morning and absolutely is thrilled to like put their hands in the dirt and grow something and feed somebody. Put that person in med school, because even if they have the resources, they're gonna be miserable. They're gonna hate what they're doing because that's not their purpose. In Eastern philosophy, that's called Dharma, one's purpose. So we're all here to do something specific, and only that will fulfill us, because realistically it was designed for us. So looking things from more of a perspective of purpose what is my purpose versus what is my profession, and how will that be evaluated?
Dharma, word of the day.
Dharma.
Wasn't that like the name of the collective and like Lost?
Baby Mama Dharma.
The Dharma, whatever. I don't know. I never watched that show.
But
I never watched the show, so I don't know. I'm just asking.
But you know what? I kind
don't know.
of like, based on how you describe Dharma, I'm curious. Like, if you're born in the right situation at the right time, you know, and in the right place, it might be easier to fulfill your purpose than not being born in the right place at the right time, in the right place. You know,
but you might also be built in such a way that even though you weren't born in the right place at the right time, that you can get to that place where the other person.
Well, here's the twist: everyone's born at the right place at the right time for what is right for them to do in this life.
True.
Wow.
You're a miracle.
Like just suffering. You know, all I've done in my life is suffer. You know, I'm built to suffer. I'm built to be poor. I'm built to be hungry. Is that it? Was that my purpose in life?
So,
if I was born, 50 years after, I probably would have been better off, right? So,
depending on where you were born.
Yeah.
well, this is getting more into like theological beliefs, right? Like, what do people believe? Do we have multiple lives? Do we have one life? Or what's happening? I actually I made a video about this today, understanding the people's like critical conditions, terminal conditions. Like, how do you actually understand that and deal with it? And sometimes suffering, something that people cannot do anything about, is in their lives for a reason, in a way, to teach acceptance and surrender, and ultimately through surrender and through acceptance of what is, that is how consciousness expands. And it's a very paradoxical concept, because in this Western society we're very like yang and fire and let's do more, let's grind more. But things like healing, things like understanding those things are yin feminine principles of allowing and accepting. So someone that's suffering, in a way, is getting, believe it or not, it's a learning experience. Whether they transcend that in this life or the next, that's a whole other conversation. But something is always teaching us. Even if you had an injury, like as a football player, or a knee or whatever, like, why did this happen to this player? Like, I'll give you an example. Like, one of my really good teammates has had a lot of knee problems, but because now he can't play professional basketball anymore, he wrote a book. Now he's teaching and inspiring people and doing different things, because maybe his purpose wasn't basketball. Maybe it just got him to a means to an end. And that suffering, out of that came growth, and now he's doing something more. So it's difficult to judge with people suffering.
That would be another show, because what about the people who are in perpetual suffering, generational suffering? Are they just born to suffer? Are they just there for that, right? Anyways, I'd love to go on deeper about that, but
Part 2 coming up.
Part two. But I've never heard the word Dharma.
Continued in the next life.
Maybe the next life is right now, or just tomorrow.
Should we put next life?
The next life is as long as we have muffins. So.
No.
And muffins.
Or cupcakes.
Cupcakes. My bad.
Sorry.
Speaking of that, the next life. What about the idea of opening your garage door a little bit like this?
Great segue. Great segue.
Yeah. Have you heard that theory of people leave their garage door like 1 quarter open, which says that this is a swinging house to attract people.
So this happened because I think you were there too. So Rob, my boy Martin, and a couple of other friends that came over. And my boy, see, Joel already said it's a thing. Joel already said it's a thing. Shout out to Max. But he came into the house and he's like, "Yo, bro, I didn't know you guys were swingers." And I'm like, "Huh? What?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, your garage door." I was like, "Nah, it's summertime and it just stinks in there."
What if somebody just wants to let the cat out?
But that's but I.
Somebody just shows up at your house like, I'm here for the gangbang.
Great reference. Oh my god! But seriously, like, just when he said that, I kind of froze because I was like, oh snap, like that might actually be a thing. You know what I mean? I had no idea. I literally told him, I was like, no, like there's something in the garbage and it kind of smells, and it's really hot outside, so I just wanted to ventilate the garage. I'm not a swinger at all. But man, that's insane. What are your thoughts on the whole swinger?
Before we get to our thoughts on swinging, can we have Dr. Nemo explain what swinging actually is for the people out there who don't know?
I wouldn't know, but good question.
What is swinging?
From what I understand,
Before you continue, Joel Martin said, "I leave my garage open a tad all the time and get accused of it." So that's a real thing. I didn't know.
so this guy's gonna be showing up to your house real quick. Just so you know. Close that garage. Hurry up.
Yeah. So what's swinging, guys?
I understand it is that certain couples choose to, invite other people into their sexual relationship. That's what I understand.
Wow. So do you believe in that? I mean, obviously it's a thing, but would you? What are your thoughts on it?
Like personally, I think that like the most important thing out of anything in life is to allow people their freedom. Is to allow freedom of action, freedom of speech, freedom of choice. That ultimately leads to different decisions that people make, and based on those decisions, they're going to learn what is good for them and what is not good for them. Like a lot of these rationalizations for having multiple people in your lives, doing this, doing that, having consensual sex with many partners. It's all good and it's fine, and we've all been in college and stuff like that. But ultimately, at least what I found in a lot of people's experiences is that
I love how you slipped that in real slick. We're all in college school.
But I mean, let's be real, right? We're being real. So it's like, you're gonna come to a point where you realize like this is not making me happy, and if there's other people involved or people that are doing that, it's also potentially hurting somebody else. But you can never force that on somebody. You can only make that decision for yourself. So if those people are happy engaging in that behavior, that's great. There might come a point where they realize that it might be not making them happy. There could be discord in the family, and then the conversation becomes, well, what is sexual energy? What are we supposed to be using sexual energy for? Sexual energy is the energy of creativity. The way energy flows through the body is this way.
I like that. So, creativity is sexy.
That's right.
That's my new thing.
So Joel is saying swinging isn't sleeping with other people. I know swingers. They sleep together around other people doing things.
Oh, so
clarify that. So basically,
Yeah,
so it's a gangbang, but you keep your partner. Is that what? I don't know if that's what Joel's saying.
I think that's. What
I don't know.
saying.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe it's possible.
That's so crazy. Like I'm trying to think about, like, this conversation we're having. Imagining my parents listening to this conversation and us talking about it. Like, I can't picture my immigrant parents even understanding the concept. But
that's the reaction.
Well, my mom's like, I think I want to install Facebook. I'm like, no Facebook for you, thank you.
Oh man, so that means and he's saying so there's different levels. I guess there's different levels to this game.
Yeah.
Different levels to this shit.
You're a level 5
So
swinger.
some people, but even that would be weird because like, let's say two people are banging it out, and for some reason it does something for them because someone else is banging it out next to them, and then two people lock eyes or something. Wouldn't that just be kind of weird? I mean, not weird, but not. I don't even know what the word is. I don't know.
I'm thinking that it probably is my ignorance, but like if you're taking part in some of those type of activities, I feel like there might need to be like some soul searching, a little bit, because I don't know. Like, first of all, should you even be in a relationship? Should you even be in a monogamous situation, right? And whose idea was it? Are you actually?
How do you bring that up?
Yeah. Are you actually are you actually forcing other people, like your wife or your husband, to be in a situation like that because they want to make you happy?
That's a great point.
But does that not mess with like they want to make you happy? But does that not in the process make them feel less than?
Like, you know how I see it?
People say that people don't get hurt, but from what you hear, like someone's always getting hurt, especially if you involve other people. Then there's kids involved. Usually there's somebody that's
kids would be big too. We were talking about that this
Like,
week. That would be big.
It's kind of like, it's like Jet and I are friends. We're friends, but you and Jet are more friends. But Jet loves that to play basketball with me, but he wants you to come and watch. Like, it's the weird.
I don't know what kind of game you're talking about. I'm about to do.
No, I get what you're saying.
That was really horrible, by the way.
You can
it's a
do
bad
your,
example.
You can do your double
No, I
focus and
get that though.
But
I get what you're
it.
saying.
Like, it's like, oh, we're friends, but I want you to be there. It's like, it's so weird. Like, to me, it's like, let's all like I don't want to, like, anyways.
Well, again, it brings us
I
back
think
to
you
the,
understand.
No, I get what you're
the
saying.
mind, right? Like people's overstimulation of desire, and we all have it. It's the nature of the mind. The spectrum is desire and aversion. Desire for the seemingly positive, aversion for the seemingly negative, and that can in itself become an addiction. It can become an outlet. It can become, somebody's crutch. But again, like we can never force anything on anybody. People should be able to choose. There's when the first guy brought yoga to North America, his name was Paramahansa Yogananda. He was like the yogi to a bunch of these actors, a lot of these people that were engaging in these kind of behaviors. And then this actor came to him like, Swami, everyone tells me what I can't do. Can you please tell me what I can do? It's like, don't have sex with multiple partners. Don't drink. Don't smoke. Blah blah. He's like, well, do you drink alcohol? He's like, yes. You may continue to do so. Do you have sex with multiple partners? Yes. You may continue to do so. And he's like, Swami, I don't understand. And he's like, you may continue to do so, but I cannot promise you with these practices of yoga and meditation that you will no longer want to. So that's the difference. It's like not stopping anything, but starting something. So don't stop your behaviors as long as they're obviously not hurting anybody, but start another practice of meditation, yoga, things that will kind of bring you closer with yourself. And from then you might have a different perspective, but people are free to do whatever they want.
Absolutely. And Joel, that's what Joel was saying. He said, if it doesn't hurt your fam, why do you care? And Rob, he's taking a shot at you saying, and again, we'll destroy you at ball.
Yo,
Who won it? Let me know.
I was
you
there.
don't count.
Joe, I was there September 12th, waiting for you, but you never showed up. Dude, don't let my looks fool you. I can ball, man.
In this basketball game, who's MGK, who's Eminem?
Oh, I'm joining Lucas.
You're trying to...
Joey's P. Diddy.
P. Diddy gets other people to play for him.
Man, that's a crazy comment, though, by the way.
This is true.
That call out in the song to Diddy.
Okay, listen.
What's the call out?
When he says, what did he say? I actually have it
The
somewhere.
day MGK puts out a hit is the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pac killed.
Oh, mama.
That's a big statement.
No, but listen.
That's a big statement.
No, but you know what? Here's the thing. So, this is something.
He's supposed to drink.
No, but here's the thing. So here's the thing. No, but here's the thing. Okay, I was talking to Lex about this, and this because remember, you have to keep in mind everything Eminem says is with purpose, and everything he says has like a double meaning. Even today, I was listening to something, and even Killshot. Okay, he called the song Killshot, and apparently the song Killshot was named after a movie where there's a character named Coulson who's being chased by an assassin.
Oh my god, that is crazy.
What's MGK's name?
Wow.
It's like something Coulson Baker. So there's purpose with everything he does. Okay? Exactly. So here's the thing. Who else identifies with the moniker of Pac or Pac-Man? MGK. He has a tattoo of Pac-Man across his throat. So when he
and put that teaser out with him playing Pac-Man.
Exactly. So when he said the day, like the line that you just said, that he admits, the day you get a hit is the day Diddy admits da-da-da-da. Because that can mean a lot of things. That can mean that, you didn't talk to your boy to not come at me, so your risk...
Because the other line was, got the Diddy okay, da-da-da-da-da-da. So it's like, you went to Diddy first, you asked, can I do this?
Exactly.
And then you did it. So that's two shots at Diddy, really.
But yeah. But then, you know what's the funny part? Because Diddy, in the first song with Rap Devil or whatever, you know how MGK says... Oh, the GOAT can't even take a joke, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
What does Eminem say at the end of Killshot after he destroys him? When he's like, come on, Diddy, I'm just playing.
Damn,
right? He says,
come
on, Diddy, I'm just playing. I love you. You know what I mean? Like,
wow,
so he basically, so it's like, I'm going to say all this stuff,
And
You
then
say,
you
nah,
told, and then
that's
nah,
just
I'm
a
okay.
joke.
Just like you said, right? You said my daughter's name, and you said all these comments, and then you said, oh, you can't take a joke.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you, yo, G-Eazy was balls deep in your girl. You know, I'm just playing.
Man, so that's a good. I was watching this guy's analysis of it, and he was saying, he's like, man, this is gonna start like this argument between two white guys is gonna cause more black people to get killed, because then this guy's gonna make a comment, this guy's gonna make a comment, it's gonna get to Diddy, it's gonna get to the whole Pac thing, and it's just gonna cause more problems. So it's just like,
So what you just said reminds me of a Malcolm X quote that talks about the fox and the wolf. The fox is slick. He's like your friend. He'll lull you to eating you. The wolf makes clear that he's going to eat you. So you see him coming a mile away. So are you telling me that Eminem is taking part in the extermination of the black population?
no, I don't think he's doing that. No, I don't think he's doing that.
Wow, you went far with that one.
Yeah,
you
that's
went
a
far
bit-
with
that's
that
a
one. That was a
the
bit
whole
of a
guy,
stretch.
the whole point the guy was saying was that despite this seemingly innocent beef, it could become dangerous. I doubt that that's Eminem's intention. I think that's a little stretch.
Yeah. So anyway, we digress. It's not that we're judging swingers. If anything, for me, I was just
Where'd that come from?
well, because that's what we were talking about, and then I don't know how we ended up in Eminem again. But
Hey, at the same time, with swinging, don't knock it till you try it.
okay, tell me how that goes.
I will.
We're not knocking it. We're just
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just saying.
people should do what they want to do.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's all it was.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Jet.
and like I said,
That's all I'm saying.
all I'm
Jet.
saying. No, that's not what all. That's not all you said. But
That's
That's
all
not
I
what you
said.
said.
But what I'm
That's all I
saying,
said.
but what I'm saying is, at the same time, it's just I was trying to